This is a unit of the Nigeria police. Amnesty International reports that on October the 20th, 2020, at least 12 protesters were killed in Alausa and Lekki, this is in Lagos State, and at least 56 people died during the countrywide protests. The Nigerian authorities claimed to have carried out comprehensive police reforms in the aftermath of these protests. But Amnesty International accuses Nigeria's police of routinely committing violations of human rights. Now, this includes extrajudicial killings, arbitrary detention, and torture. Well, to get more details, we're now joined from Lagos, Nigeria, by the BBC's Nkechi Ogbonna. Nkechi, thanks for your time just speaking with us on this. So what charges are the protesters facing, and why have some of their trials been delayed for so long?
Well, Wahiga, some of the charges Amnesty International says that these protesters have been accused of include theft, in some cases murder, illegal possession of firearms, and arson. Now, this follows some of the lootings that happened even after the protest. If we remember 3 years ago, after the shooting at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, now a lot of the angry protesters and mobs took to shopping malls, burning businesses, looting shops, which led to a curfew imposed by the Lagos state government. So some of these persons in custody are yet to even get a trial date in court.
Okay, and even as you tell us anything you may have heard on why that is so, you've been speaking to some of the family members. What are they saying about their loved ones who have been waiting for justice, or at least a chance before the courts after such a long wait?
I spoke to Blessing Okoro. Now, she's the wife of Kingsley Okoro, one of the people who have been detained since in the last 3 years. She says life has really been difficult. She's visited him a couple of times in one of the correctional facilities that he's in the country that he's being held up at the moment. She says at the time of his arrest, she was actually 7 months pregnant, and she gave birth following his arrest, but she lost the baby a few days after that because of all the complications she experienced in the latter days of her pregnancy. She also says she's been ejected from her home, and she's been generally facing very difficult times. She's not been able to even keep up with his court dates and his appearances because transporting herself to the court and visiting him on some of those occasions have been very difficult due to her economic circumstance.
I mean, Nkechi, a very unfortunate series of events that you've narrated there for us. Have we had any response from the authorities to what Amnesty International is saying?
The authorities have not responded to this new report from Amnesty International, and the BBC has also reached out to the Lagos State Police Command to get a comment on this report from Amnesty International, but we haven't gotten a response yet.
And Nkechi, you're also able to walk us through what are some of these police reforms that have been witnessed since the EndSARS protests that Amnesty International says simply isn't enough, though?
Well, we have seen some officers who have been fingered, to either partake in extrajudicial killings or intimidation of young people, profiling of young people, illegal arrest and detention. Most recently, we saw a court in Lagos State sentence a police officer to death by hanging, which is the case that saw that police officer shoot and kill a pregnant lawyer at Christmas Day last year. She was killed in Ajah, a suburb of Lagos, when she was just going in the car when she was with her husband, actually, and they were going for a family dinner on Christmas Day. She was shot point blank by that police officer, and she was pregnant as at the time of this incident. So Amnesty International says these are just some of the incidents that have happened, and some of the cases that have made it to limelight, but a lot of these cases also go unreported, and Amnesty International fears that all the gains that especially in police reforms that EndSARS had brought about are fizzling out slowly because the police reforms have been slow and in some cases inconsistent with the current realities in the country.
Well, thank you so much, Nkechi Ogbonna, for updating us on the latest from that Amnesty International report, where